Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Fox and today I'm bringing you a new video, a guide for manning Zoo on Invaded solo. For those of you that have been on my channel for a bit of time, you'll know that I have a series covering all of the invaded strongholds and the best way to complete them solo. Because of course you may not be able to rely on match-made teammates or your friends and clanmates being online. And with these guides and build suggestions, you'll be able to go through these missions easily solo. They are typically viewed as the hardest missions in the game, but they also give you a guaranteed named item, so they are definitely worth doing each week. What I'll be using today is the same build that I used in Tidal Basin, utilising Rigger and the Oxidizer for huge skill damage buffs, as this mission, like Tidal Basin, has a lot of generators and turrets and so on you need to shoot out, and doing it from distance works really well. If you look at the top of your screen now, you will see a link for that particular video, and the playlist itself with the strongholds that I've done so far will all be available there. I did actually forget to do DUA last week for whatever reason. It was a really easy one, definitely the easiest of the bunch, and for some reason I just didn't make any content for it, so I will cover that next time it is back in rotation. If you do like the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it does help me out a lot. And if you do want to be notified of future build and guide videos, don't forget to hit that notification bell as well. So let's get started with the build. Now I've of course covered this in a previous video, so if you do want to skip past this, please just go to the timestamps in the description to go straight to the mission. With that mission it will be covering each room and how to do it. We are starting with Technician for a couple of reasons. We gain, well, 3 reasons in total. The +1 skill tier, which is really good for this build, as we can have 1 blue on here. You can see I've rolled the Rigger to that. The 10% skill damage, which pairs really well with the drone and oxidizer that we're going to be using, and the 12% additional damage to mechanical items, which is really good for breaking down the generators, warhounds, you know, the sort of more difficult enemies in the game. We're utilising the capacitor. This is really the only weapon you should ever be using on any skill damage build, including status effect damage, as this gives us not only a large amount of weapon damage for being at skill tier 6, but also a huge amount of skill damage, 60% in total, just for firing into an enemy. So this is fantastic and very easily obtained by completing 5 challenges in any 1 week within the summit on any difficulty. No reason why you shouldn't have this and be using it on any skill build. It is just quite simply the best to use at the moment. It pairs perfectly with Memento. What this essentially does is give us a lot of buffs that really help a solo build. The 3% armor regen when we collect 30 trophies, which you're going to do very quickly with this being a solo guide. The 30% additional weapon damage, which really helps our capacitor, and the 30% skill efficiency. Don't forget that 1% skill efficiency is the equivalent to 1% of every skill stat in the game, so that means we're going to be gaining 30% skill duration, which is really important for this build, as you want your oxidizers to last as long as possible. And the drone, it does less damage and lasts for a smaller amount of time and has less health compared to the turret, but it is better as it pulls aggro. So Memento with that skill efficiency is going to give it more skill health, more skill duration, and more skill damage, as well as skill haste for when you need to cool down get these cooldowns reduced. We also gain the temporary buff, which gives us a further 30% skill efficiency, so if you have the opportunity to run over a trophy mid-fight, you're going to do even more damage with your weapon and of course your skills. But it's mainly that the armor regen that is part of the survivability part of this build. The other way that we are getting that is through the name Murakami knees. If you don't have these, it's really not a problem. I've rolled these to skill damage, but the reason I like these is they are Murakami, which gives us 20% skill duration. Again, very important for the 2 skills that we are using, as you want them to be up as long as possible. And yeah, of course, you know, being the named DZ variant, it does give us that 1% armor regen, taking us to a total of 4%, which on a build with 1.1 million armor is actually pretty good. If you don't have these, you could just run a Bellstone here instead, and then of course you wouldn't need to roll one of your Rigger to blue. I mean, a great example would be, I think I've actually got a pair that I need to re-roll, something along those lines. You know, I could just roll the status effects to skill haste, or I could just max out the armor here. You know, either way it will pretty much be the same, so a Bellstone would be a great alternative. 4-piece Rigger is really good for this build, and the main reason for that is that the Oxidizer benefits most from the chest talent of this gear set, more than Glass Cannon or Kinetic Momentum or so on, as you know, that doesn't even buff it. If you want to use this on a more traditional skill build, the skills are the most important part with Memento. You know, Rigger isn't for everybody, but it does give us 15% skill haste, which is good for our Oxidizer cooldown. It gives us 15% duration, which means the Oxidizer gas cloud lasts even longer. And then it gives us a total with the chest piece, as you can see here with the best budget talent, 50% additional damage buff. All we need to do is use our Oxidizer once every 10 seconds to give both of our skills 50% more damage, which is actually insane and very underrated in my opinion. Even if we just change targets with our drone, it also gives us that skill damage buff. So a very, very good gear set, and I highly recommend you try this out with this build. With the 1 blue on the build, you can see I'm at 1.1 million armor. Of course, because we've got the 5 yellow, including Memento, with the +1 from Technician, that means that my skill is as follows. At tier 6, currently showing as 62, nearly 63k damage, but that's going to go to well over 100k with Capacitor and our backpack buffed up. And then the Oxidizer is currently set at 17-second duration, which is crazy long, 146k. Again, that's going to be more than double with all of our stacks, which are not difficult to achieve at all. So yeah, some very powerful skills here. What we'll now do is load into the mission, and I will show you how each section works. So this first area is pretty straightforward. There's only 2 waves, including some snipers up top on the turrets. You want to kill those or subdue those first, and then you're going to have the second wave come from just inside the entrance, the door to the left and the right. So what I like to do here is just cover these wherever you see them, just to keep them out of cover, stop them from shooting you essentially. You see that it's really not difficult to kill these at all. They're already dead, in fact. There's the second wave now. And if ever they sit in cover like this, just pop your Oxidizer. For some crazy skill damage. Same here for this sniper. Sit back, take your time. We don't have a huge amount of armor regen yet. And as you can see, that part is very simple. See you later, buddy. Just gonna sit in that, are you? That's why I like putting the Oxidizer up there. And this is it. Once we kill this guy, that'll be everything. Second part of this mission, so inside the entrance, I'm just going to pop an Oxidizer to both sides here, so that they're all going to run through it. You're going to have 2 waves here again. As you can see, they just repelled in from the helicopter. I'm going to push up top and grab the trophies for my backpack, so I can get some armor regen on the go. Then we can just sit up here. If you want, you can push to that little bit of cover just there. I'm not a fan of it personally, because they can shoot you from the right, but it's not a bad shout if you want to get a little bit closer. I just like to play up top here. No reason to rush this. Use your Oxidizer, flush them out of cover, keep retargeting your drone to make sure that when the 10 seconds runs out on your rigger buff, you essentially reproc it, therefore getting the 10%, 50%, sorry. Oh wow, look how fast this is dying. Already at 98k per shot, which is pretty good. Now I'm going to push forward that we've killed that first wave. I'm going to pop these just here. So that'll break the... broke all the drones which killed him. Awesome. This is it. You're just alternating your skills, keeping the rigger buff procced, and shooting stuff. As soon as I sit in cover, that's literally all I do. And that's the 2 waves of the entrance completed. So now at the first courtyard area, you're going to have a wave of enemies just to the right and to the left. Let's get some Oxidizer down early. Up our skills. Target it to the Warhound. Then there's always going to be a Warhound here. Sometimes if you're unlucky, you'll get a heavy as well. The second wave, when we kill all but the last enemy of this first wave, will come out directly below me. Playing a little bit aggressively. You definitely want to be in cover for this part, as we don't have a huge amount of armor regen just yet. There we go, they're coming out now. Oh no, they're not, it's just the guy above me. As soon as this guy goes down, we should have the second wave coming. There they are. So you just stand inside that. Real smart move. So again, I just like to sit in cover here. They'll push you, but I mean, it's really not difficult to kill these, as you can see. And that's that area done. Now coming into the aquarium, you're also going to have 2 waves, including a Warhound. You want to try and focus him as early as possible. There he is. So I'm just going to sit in cover here. I pretty much don't need to move from this sort of general back area for this part. The second wave will come out from the back 2 doors. We can't really see at the moment. Warhound, I always find likes to just sit in that spot there, so that should be pretty easy to subdue. Just get an Oxidizer on this to stop any further drones, because as soon as he spawns them, they'll be in the damage cloud, and therefore will die. So that's the Warhound already dead just from the Oxidizer. Still going to sit in the back area. We've got a reduced cooldown on our drone that just got blown up from the EMP because of Memento, so we should get that back pretty soon. Again, the Oxidizer will just stop them from deploying drones, and if they do, it's just going to blow them up above their heads, so nothing to worry about there. You can run through your own Oxidizer clouds, but don't do it for any sort of extended periods of time because they will hurt you, as you just saw there. There's the second wave. It's a bit slow on the old Artificer there, but we'll live with that.
UAVs are up.
Again, this is why the why do I keep calling it Artificer? The Oxidizer. It's very good for clearing out the reclaimer stations as well. And this should be the last enemy now. No more waves. We're now at the infamous mortar section. What you want to do here is swap off your Oxidizer for a turret. Basically, this, for those of you that don't know, this section is bugged, and for some reason the mortars instantly hit the red warning circles. You really can't afford to start there too long. There is a little place in the back left you can hide, but it's just not worth it on this build. You're better off just sticking your turret down here, getting this down. So you see that? The red circle appeared and it was instant. And then all I'll do is I'll just sit here basically. And you know, you'll get a few that push you. But what you want to do here, this is a little bit slow and boring unfortunately, but it is very safe to just allow the enemies to die from your skills than go out there and risk dying yourself. Have a little bit of a peek. Get that rigger talent propped against for getting the additional skill damage. As long as you don't go outside, you're generally fine, and if you do, just come straight back in again, because 2 of those mortars and you'll go down. Warhound's going to push us here, but we can live with that. It's the drone guy down. I'm going to grab some bonus armor so I can tank a couple of shots here. Yeah, you just got no time to dodge them for the most part. I'm going to pull back again. So, you know, don't play it too risky is the general rule of thumb here. Just take your time, let your skills do the work. Sometimes one will just sit back and chill out, but at least you're alive, and then you can continue with the mission. And I've got full health. I'm just going to re-peek again. Look at that, instant. It's crazy. Okay, that's a bit too much damage to my liking, so I'm going to pop back inside here. I believe that's the last enemy. Look at my armor regen, by the way. It's flying up. That's what I like so much about this build. Then once you've completed that section, which you just have, you just want to break down your turret and go straight back to your Oxidizer again. So we're now at the section where the mortars are actually deployed. You can see the boss is already up there, so what I like to do is get one of those off early. She's going to sit in that pretty soon, and then what you need to do is push under this sort of area just here and deal with the 2 mortar generators, I guess you could call them. They will die pretty much instantly. This one you need to aim a bit to the left of this wall, and it's kind of hard to see the red circle. There it is. That will now deal with it. What we can now do is just sit here and kill everything else. You can push forward if you want to, but you can see they're already dead. Look, it's literally dealt with already. Boss is a sniper that uses a rocket launcher, because apparently this is Call of Duty and those 2 weapons match up. I believe this is the last wave when these helicopter dudes come in. You will see a heavy sometimes spawn at the same time through that back door. But I don't know if that's all the time. I think he would have come out by now, so probably not. Instantly dead, look at that. Any enemies sat in cover, just use your Oxidizer. Like this dude just here. Look at that perfect grenade. This is what I was complaining about. Look at that. He's so far away. It's ridiculous. So we're going to focus him first. I'm not a fan of you know, these grenadiers that just seem to have pinpoint accuracy. Turret just there, but again we're safe in this. We can just place this and keep our stacks going. Not too hard. keep redeploying my drone so that I regain the rigger buff of the 50%. Ah, there's the heavy. Okay, so there is one final wave after the helicopter, I guess. I guess it's 3 waves in total. So again, it's not a problem. Just sitting back here, we really don't need to worry too much at all. Armor regen's definitely keeping us alive at the moment, that's for sure. And with the nose on the go, because I think he's backing off. Oh, he's chunked. And your Oxidizer, don't forget, will always blow up the drones above the drone controller's head. So if you see him deploying them, just basically fire it straight into them.
Serious trauma detected.
And that's it. Once this guy's dead, this area will be complete. Nice and simple. So we're now at the Alligator section. This is just Warhounds here with 1 heavy. You can change to an EMP jammer or sticky bomb here. I don't feel that you need to personally, but it does work very well. I just like to have the 2 damaging skills for the heavy, as he's the only thing that's really going to pressure you. The first Warhound will come out of here, the second wave will come out of the left door, and then they just tend to alternate a few times. The heavy could be anywhere from the second wave onwards. So this first one is always a Warhound. Going to focus him down. You won't have the second wave come out until this one is dead, by the way. At least I don't think so. I've never noticed it if you do. Problem is that they smoke all of this area, so just don't play too aggressive here because you know, you can die quite easily. And try and recall your drone to you whenever you can. So I think we're going to have 2 Warhounds in this door. Yes, we are. And then 1 to the right. There we go. So this is where, when you start to get them all pushing like this is where you want to be sat back. Wait for him to stop moving. Place that on him. So we've got the heavy pushing us to the right here, so we've got to be very careful of him. Again, this armor region is keeping us alive here. Just use your armor kits where needed. You can't really get hurt when you sit this far back. Gonna hip fire. Let's keep the stacks going as well. And then look at that, as soon as you break through his armor, which the Oxidizer really helps with. We're gravy. We're good to go. Now we can just finish off these dudes. That Oxidizer absolutely murdering him. So again, we are losing our skill here, but this is why I like to keep the Oxidizer on for this bit. I mean, look at that chunk. How much is that doing? Oh, it's just destroying him. Yeah. So kill this last one. We're good to go.
Check the control room behind the aviary. The Black Tusk would work smarter, not harder.
So we're now in pathway. Just a few enemies here before we go inside the building. You will often get them push up top as well, so don't go too far forward here. Just use your Oxidizer once again to keep that guy from doing too much. So he's going to get hit pretty hard there. Again, you can step through your own Oxidizer puddles, but just be careful. Oh, I guess he already died. And then this next section, you're going to have quite a lot of Warhounds here. So again, if you want to switch to an EMP jammer, you can do so. Once I said before, I don't feel the need to do so, but it is a very effective strat, so don't feel like you need to stick with the Oxidizer for this part. There are a lot of enemies, NPC enemies as well, so what I like to do is just sit on this truck. You don't want to go any further forward than this until the very final helicopter. There are 2 in total, but there are a bunch of Warhounds here as well. And they will sort of start to push you quite aggressively if you go too far forward, so try to avoid that where possible. Use your Oxidizer to flush these guys out of cover. Start working on these Warhounds. Use this guy first. Thanks for that. Endpoint grenade accuracy once again. You see here about the, this is why I like the drone. They tend to target the drone quite a lot. They never target the turret. So even though the turret has better stats across the board, it doesn't pull aggro, which in my opinion makes it a worse choice for this particular build. That's dead now. find that the Grenadier Warhounds are definitely the most dangerous in this entire mission. So kill this guy, we should then have the final helicopter wave in the background, which I'm probably going to push forward for. There it is. Grab a couple of trophies en route just to give us a bit of a buff to our weapon and skill damage. Oh, hello buddy, what are you doing up there? Didn't even know you could get up there. For some reason I can't jump over this tiny ledge as well, which is... Why can't I jump over this ledge? What? What was that all about? That was strange. So yeah, just the final wave of enemies here, very easy to kill. And that is that section done. Now in this section just here, in all of the aviary section, you do get these EMP jammers which can hurt you. So what you want to try and do is wait for them to complete their pulse, run straight forward, ignoring these enemies for just a second, get your artificer, why do I keep calling it that? Your oxidizer on the generator, I guess you call it. And then that will stop the next one just here, and then you need to essentially finish that for the, or do the same thing again for the next one. So once again, just use your Oxidizer to deal with the drone guys. As soon as they go over it, it just insta-kills them, which is awesome. All these dudes sat in cover over here. That's what it's good for. I'm going to keep the boss subdued up here as well, as the boss does tend to peek shoot. Not too much, admittedly. They tend to come around as soon as you start working your way up, but again, the Oxidizer just absolutely shines in this mission. Oh, look at that damage. Just to keep him busy. In here. So the next EMP jammer is right there. So when you see this blue sucker come out, you don't want to be in range of that. What we do want to do is oxidize the generator on the other side. And once that's dead, we can push back around the right so we don't go through our own oxidizer puddle, which can do a lot of damage if you're not prepared for it. As you just saw there. One of the downsides to it on such a high damaging build, unfortunately, but... Oh, the boss just went and stood in it! So usually the boss will just sit up here and start to work his way around here, but I didn't see it actually got around the back of us and just stood in the oxidizer and died, so... GG, bro. And that is the only generators that we need to worry about. We can just finish these enemies off now. You will have, I believe, one final wave just come out here from one of the doors. But it's the same basic principle. Yep, there they are. Just push forward, use your skills, don't play too aggressive. I mean, I'm not even sat in cover here. I probably should be, because that Grenadier is murdering me, but look at, I mean, look at that armor region. You get a chance. It's pretty high. That's the every section completed. So we're now coming up to the area, the Courtyard 2, just before the bamboo area. The way you get here is just to simply access the Black Tusk computer, as the game tells you to do, and then jump out the window whilst turning right. There are 2 helicopters here, I believe, possibly 3, but again, you can just sit back and kill them as they come in. We get a second one coming just to the right here. I always like to oxidize them as they come in because it does a lot of damage below them as well. So tend to just fire this early, but no need to if you don't want to. Well, they're saying that guy was dead before he touched the floor, so it probably is a good idea. As was that guy. Now at the bamboo area, whilst the route to get here is different with the invaded version, what you do here is exactly the same. There's a single wave of enemies, or possibly a second wave comes out the door, but I don't know, I only ever see one group of enemies here. Just, if I can actually get to the right place, just sit and cover at the back and kill stuff. Once again, using the Oxidizer to flush any enemy out of cover. I mean, look how much it's chunking down that flamer station, even though I've hardly got any stacks on my capacitor. You can push further forward here if you want to. I don't really feel the need to. Obviously these kind of skill builds will always be a little bit slower than your run and gun style builds, but they're certainly safe and they are very powerful in this mission. You keep yourself out of harm's way, which is the most important part. He's already dead. Nice. That's the bamboo area done. No, it isn't. There's a second wave. There's a second wave! Okay, so there are 2 waves then. So that's my mistake. I swear they come out a lot faster than that normally, but I guess not. Can we into him here? Yes, we can. So you just sit in that Oxidizer puddle. Real smart, bro. So there we go, 2 waves total, and that's the bamboo area now completed. Apologies for the lies earlier. Okay, so now to bridge. There are turrets here that you need to break, so just fire your Oxidizer into those, because this one here will hit you like anywhere. It's got really good line of sight. Is that now dead? The enemies that are close to us. Again, the armor regen and the extra armor on this field are definitely keeping us alive here. Use that to break those instantly. Oh, see you later. Sucks to be you. There'll be a second generator for a second turret. That's right at the end. There is a boss here as well at this bridge section. So I'm going to grab some bonus armor to push forward. And then get our Oxidizer on the one. So you see it's just behind the tower at the back left there. Did get behind me, wasn't really paying that much attention. That's the downside to doing a live commentary whilst you're doing these missions. Definitely kill him, so I haven't got to worry about that. But again, you can see I'm just regenning through everything here. Oh, hello. I don't know what my... Where is my... Oh, it's over there somewhere. Ah, that's the game bugging out for you again, not doing... It is really fixated on that boss at the moment. Let me try and recall it back to me. Nope, it just refuses to obey. Okay. Well, normally this would be a lot faster if my skills were actually doing as they were told, but I guess that's too much to ask for. Luckily the extreme weapon damage, armor regen and the skill from the Oxidizer alone was enough to help me out there, but I guess it's just how it goes with these skills sometimes. Oh, yeah, to be fair, the capacitor does absolutely wreck on this build. Boss, I mean, to be fair, the boss was nearly dead, so it did its work. So coming up to the swamp section, just a couple of waves here. All I like to do is... Oh, I left that a bit late, but get the Oxidizer on top of that helicopter once again. And just sit here. This is literally where I sit for this bit. Wow, just look how fast they're dropping now. We're starting to get some stacks built up. Turret's now hitting for 117k, which is pretty good. This guy's just going to chill out here. Once he's dead, this will be it. Oh, look at that damage. Crazy damage. So in this area we just have 2 waves. Right in the back right, and then as you can see right in front of us. So try and always get these up as early as humanly possible. I'm always a little bit late on them because I'm thinking more about talking than I am about actually playing the game. But it's a general rule of thumb with if you're using riot foam or the Oxidizer just to foam or oxidize them as they come out. Even if you hit it early, it still applies. The game renders them in late, so they're sort of there before they're there, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm not even sat in cover anymore now that we've got so much armor regen on the build. Of course you can be if you want to, just to be safe. It's generally a good idea not to just run around like a madman as I do in half of my videos. Although with this amount of damage you can kind of get away with it, that's for sure. So we're now at the boss section. Now there are 3 generators that you need to break here. One to the right, one to the left, which is the first one, and one to the middle. So I kind of did that in the wrong order. It'll be left side first, then middle, then right. You want to break these as fast as possible because you're going to have those EMP pulses that will really hurt you. So again, what you want to do is just work your way around nice and safe, get the right angle to use your Oxidizer, and fire it. Now these have a lot more health than any of the ones that we've discovered here, so what you'll need to do here is to potentially fire a few more shots into them and just build up some stacks with your capacitor. Again, we've got the high armor region to help us tank a lot of this damage, but just be wary. Buy one more because these Oxidizers do stack. Just blowing up the big no from me, buddy. Get out of here. So the next one will be towards the middle. So I'm just going to work my way again, just using the outside of the map here for safety and just as much cover as possible. And then we're going to get the Oxidizer on this one. Watch out for the Mortars on this section. They're pretty easy to dodge here. It's not like the bugs the first place that we encounter them. You've got all the time in the world to move out the way. That's how they should be, you see. If you want, you could just apply 3 or 4 Oxidizers and leave it. I don't really like to sort of waste ammo, but it's not a bad idea. I'm going to do that though. So that's a drone controller. So that'll be dead by the time we get to that. This is probably going to hurt me a little bit. I'm going to run through this. Oh, that stings. And then once that's dead, it's going to be the final one on the left here. So I'm going to jump up here. We've got to finish off these enemies first. Nope, there we go. So just leave your drone on some of the enemies around whilst you kill this. See, this is going down pretty fast now with a few different Oxidizer pools there. So now you have no environmental problems to worry about. Now it's just a case of killing the boss and killing the remaining enemies, and then we're done. So again, as you can see, the Oxidizer just makes it a lot easier there. It still works very well with a weapon-based build as well. You don't know that, do you, buddy? Is he going to peek his stupid head? Okay, let's just go kill these enemies first. It's probably easier. I like to always flush out the enemies because the boss, weirdly, is the least of your problems here. These guys can be very aggressive in their pushing. Oh, that any skill help there. Just my weapon. That's how powerful the capacitor is on a tier 6 build. I mean, with Memento in particular, it does crazy damage with Memento.
I need to ditch these plates. They're fucked.
Mind your language. Okay, we should probably just be able to focus on the boss now. Don't forget these go through walls as well. Okay, we definitely need to focus that Grenadier first because they, and as I've stated before, they just don't miss at the moment. There you are. My drone has already killed the boss without me even realising.
Good work, Agent.
It has! Wow. How anticlimactic was that? So yeah, that's how powerful this build is. The drone just killed the boss in the background because I was building up my capacitor stacks on those other guys. And that's pretty much it. This is why the Oxidizer is so good. It helps to break these down with their huge health pools very fast. And you can, you could just leave sort of 3 or 4 pools and run around and kill enemies. So this is why the Oxidizer is so good for any mission that has these. But check out the Tidal Basin video if you haven't already done so. Please let me know your thoughts to this guide and the build in the comments, and until then I will see you all in the next video. Peace.